And welcome to the Filmstein podcast for another abridged episode where we jump out of the seats anxious to talk about another film. I'm, of course, joined by my feathery friend, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
I'm glad everybody could join us today. Thank you very much for being here, because today we will be talking about Gareth Edwards' 2025 release, Jurassic World Rebirth. And I'm very curious where this conversation takes us today, and I'm somewhat appreciative of this predetermined self-awareness of people being tired of dinosaurs and the people shoving dinosaurs down our throats, almost like the studio execs are predicting Jurassic World Rebirth to be a failure, but in the same breath also saying, we've got a little bit more juice here, just hold on tight, this is going to be a decent ride. Of course, this movie is not a decent ride. It's mostly uninterested in developing the Jurassic World lore, if you will, any kind of relationships, even giving us a worthwhile performance. But I will applaud the film for going that next step of letting spliced, mutated dinosaurs kind of develop into great big abominations. That's kind of a new take on the anime formula of making it just bigger, not unlike 28 days to 28 weeks to 28 years later. And of course you see a similar analog with Jurassic Park to Jurassic World. But the tone of Jurassic World Rebirth is a little underbaked, maybe. We have this weird mission of putting all these characters together rapidly, trying to make them charming, and if not charming, funny. And of course, it's at best awkward. But I will applaud Gareth Edwards for instilling the scariest Jurassic World. Maybe it's time for a truly dire Jurassic World where we start to enter this post-apocalyptic version of Jurassic World. And of course, Jurassic World 1 is by and large a reskin of the original, and they quickly go off the rails with their sequels. This film reminded me most of Jurassic Park 3, if there's any merit in that. So I don't know, man. I'm very curious what your thoughts are on Jurassic World Rebirth.
I honestly didn't know we were making another Jurassic World movie. It didn't feel as advertised as Dominion did. But I'm all for a dinosaur movie. I'm not tired of dinosaurs. We'll never be tired of dinosaurs. Keep them coming. Make as many as you can. But this is definitely the worst of the franchise. It lacked charm. Putting aside which dinosaurs showed up, storytelling elements, cast, characters. That's one of my favorite things about the franchise, the entire franchise, is the charm it brings to its dinosaurs. The feeling it brings to its dinosaurs. And it felt pretty hollow. I was very much upset our lack of focus on the T-Rex. The T-Rex is the rhyme and reason for these films. He is the dinosaur. He is the guy that I want to see. And there's some charm about him that he's kind of the savior or the focus. He is the king of this jungle. And we kind of threw him in a very intense moment. Yes, I love that. But we just threw him in the middle of the movie. And I was very upset he didn't come back in any way whatsoever. There was some juice here, I'll agree with you, that we didn't explore. And maybe it's going to be explored in the next films. But I don't know that. I wanted to explore the ethics of this genetic manipulation we're doing to these dinosaurs. Tonally, the movie should have been a bit more melancholic or reflective on, didn't we learn from not only World but Park? How freaking sad is it that we have managed to extinct dinosaurs again? It's so sad. But I don't think the film drove that message like it should have. Jonathan Bailey as Dr. Loomis, I guess he portrayed some of that disgust with humanity. And there were times I was feeling it. I was feeling remorse, as these characters should have been feeling. That message just didn't drive enough for me. I don't understand what the point of the Delgado family was. This sort of B-plot? Not sure what you'd call it, because we do merge the ensemble. Were they simply there for audience surrogate of some sort? I don't know. I'm a bit confused on their existence to this film. The themes of the film weren't strong enough for me. Not only the theme of the ethics behind the genetic manipulation, but there was also something here to be said about corporate greed. All of a sudden, I do like that we have these sort of small arcs of the blood samples we're trying to get with the 3 different dinosaurs. I like that they were split up between a sea, land, and air dinosaur. That was cool. But the first act of the film, when they're trying to recruit everybody, not gonna lie, it was pretty boring. I'm not sure what about it made it boring, because we do have a pretty great cast, in my opinion. But I did enjoy the rest of the film. The deaths were freaking awesome. Bobby's death, it was the perfect tension. The other 2 crew members, one was swallowed by that air dinosaur who has a really hard name to pronounce. I love how you saw the rope still pulling, coming up, and you're thinking he's coming up, but here comes the dinosaur just coming up slowly too. That was hilarious. The mutated D-Rex was pretty awesome. I loved how he looked. I love how nasty he looked. I agree with you, completely applaud this abomination. Don't know if I wanted more of him or not, but we do get this sneak peek in the beginning and then this reveal at the end. And I don't know, I'm a bit conflicted. I wanted more. I expected more, but I still had a good time watching it.
Yeah, the corporate greed thing pops up in these Jurassic World films, and they never really know where to take it, it seems.
Well, I thought the amusement park idea was a great corporate greed thing. And here, it almost felt like we're going to use this for the good to cure heart cancer or whatever it was.
Yeah, the, big amusement park type thing makes sense coming off of the small Jurassic Park that never opened to the public. Now we have this big Disney World type thing. That makes a lot of sense. But that immediately turns into, we're going to sell dinosaurs on the black market. And then we kind of start to stumble in the direction we're headed now, where we're going to use these prehistoric organisms for X, Y, and Z to eliminate crops in other parts of the world, so you have to buy our crops or whatever was going on in Dominion. There obviously isn't a big idea to keep the dinosaurs around, and I guess the film is self-aware enough in that point, because there isn't a, as far as we know, active, committed lab that's doing something with dinosaurs. They're all exiled to around the equator. And so now I guess corporations, secret ops, are trying to siphon off what they can. And I guess that's what I kind of mean by, it reminds me of Jurassic Park 3 the most, because it's the most unrelated to the greater picture of adding anything to Jurassic World, to Jurassic Park. It's just a mission, and what happens here doesn't really matter all that much. And I guess part of that is maybe the fault of the film, because I'm not all that convinced that they could even do anything with the blood of these animals. All these people feel increasingly incompetent across the mission. And I guess personally, I wish they would just get away from trying to incorporate corporations wanting anything out of the dinosaurs. I wish the dinosaurs would kind of take center stage and become an actual problem. I thought, based off of, the dinosaurs are delegated to the equator. that being brought up like 7 times
Oh my gosh.
got me
yes.
thinking, oh, these dinosaurs are definitely going to start migrating away from the equator. Obviously, they're setting that up as clear as day. And maybe that's going to be in a sequel for Rebirth. There should have been some kind of cliffhanger moment with that maybe here. Because we ended on the lamest note of we're going to give this information, this blood to the world. So everybody has access to this stuff. To your point about the T-Rex kind of comes across like this arm of Mother Nature. And that if you mess around with the natural order of things, the T-Rex in this case will come in and kind of equalize the field.
Put you in your place.
Which is a little silly, but I feel like that is suggested. It's a little silly because the reason the T-Rex exists in the first place in the Jurassic Park series is the same reason that all the other dinosaurs exist. If I remember correctly, unless there's this suggestion in Jurassic Park that it's a little bit more of a pure DNA thing. They were able to incubate it into a truer, purer T-Rex because I think the velociraptors got spliced with frogs or something like that. But in all their self-awareness, I would have appreciated the T-Rex to come in and have something to say to this mutant-saur. But instead, he's sleeping on the job. I don't know what's up with these Delgado guys and the boyfriend. They have this weird B-plot, that is clearly just there to pad out time.
Comic relief?
A little bit of comic relief, a little bit of charm, and that little dinosaur that they get, Dolores. Another thing we clearly set up is for Xavier to save the dad, or somehow kind of make spiritual amends with this man. But instead, we carve out a moment to clear it up that Xavier is nothing but a loser. Xavier's aware of that. Xavier's girlfriend's aware of that. The dad just needs to come to terms with that. It's weird. I will also add something that's probably the weirdest thing in this movie is that these kids, I think even that teenager girl, they're not aware of what happened with the dinosaurs originally, who Hammond is or whoever else is who was part of Jurassic World. Like, these are Hitler-sized personalities that the world would know about. They have devastated many, many ecologies. But they're not aware of these islands. They're not aware of the damage that's been done by these dinosaurs. This is catastrophic, apocalyptic type things.
Well, I think they just don't care.
Yeah, but they know about World War II. They should know about Jurassic Park. At least in some fashion, but they don't seem to know at all.
That's true, but we also don't have any kind of character relationships to know anything about what these two girls are thinking. What they know. They're just in survival mode right now. Maybe in future films, they'll let us know what they actually knew when they were on this island. Because at this point, even if they did know, A, they don't care, and B, what are they going to do about it? A lot of these characters feel hollow in that way. They're just here. Especially the Delgado family. They're just here to let us know that Krebs is evil. That's it. That's all. That's the purpose to them. And I guess to maybe make me laugh once or twice. Because you're right. What do these people know? What are they aware of?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, we needed this random saline family to let us know that Krebs was a so-called villain, at least a bean counter of sorts, and trying to, make a buck on everyone.
Yeah, a lot of this character tension, again, feels so hollow. Zora and Duncan have this past
that's just dropped on us. Talk about an exposition drop.
Yes. Performance is great. I could feel Zora's losses, but why did I care? Or why did I not care? They just felt so empty.
One immediate fix that would probably get a lot of mileage is changing our, at least initial perspective. What's being the eyes of Zora or Duncan right out of the gate?
No, you're completely right there. Whether that perspective is from Zora or not, pick a perspective. Because I would have liked the perspective to have been from Dr. Loomis. I think he set the tone the most for me. He was the one that made me question what was going on in this world the most. Again, I would have liked him to have turned from bored to excited to deeply melancholic. Or start out melancholic if he's aware of a lot of what's going on. We have that awesome scene where we see a dinosaur blocking traffic and no one giving a crap. And that could have been so powerful because that's just crazy that no one gave a crap about this dinosaur dying in the middle of the intersection. But we just brush it off. We don't focus on it. Maybe that is the point, but maybe not make it so crass.
Yeah, I think that is some of the point, especially in the intro section, to kind of identify that dinosaurs are old news.
But they're not old news to us.
Yeah, but challenging that with Dr. Loomis exiting that scene with this thing that's in the background, this really crazy cool thing that's in the background that is dying, that we should be worried about, that's just trying to be herded back to the zoo, I guess. But going from something so mundane to someone from the first film, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's very energetic about these organisms. I kind of wish he was somewhere between an Alan Grant and Ian from the original run. Someone who's deeply concerned about bringing these back. But, you know, we've had them in this world for 30 odd years. So you kind of have to live with that fact. At this point, you can't straight up be an Ian. But you can be an Alan Grant and respect the grandeur and history that they once had here and will potentially continue to have. I do like the point that they were here for over 100 million years and we've been here for less than a million, at least in our current form. But they make Dr. Loomis a joke. He is the great knower. He is the concern. But they kind of treat him like everyone else, where he's just ultimately incompetent. Dude, I thought you studied under Alan Grant. I don't take that for granted. You're the next Alan Grant saying stuff like that. Because I assume Alan Grant is dead at this point. But you're a joke.
No, that's an excellent, excellent point. And that adds to my feeling of these characters being so hollow. And that charm we're missing. We're missing that excitement, that awe-filled character with these majestic creatures. But instead, we have this weird scene where he's chewing on Altoids?
Twice. We do that twice.
Twice.
They don't even know how to commit to the comedy in threes.
And speaking of the comedy, it gave me Marvel-type comedy, but not as committed, especially with Xavier. The whole boat scene where it was his turn to navigate and they were all taking turns. And he's like, nah, you do it, or I'm tired, or whatever he said. And the dad's like, does he own a shirt or whatever? I didn't find it funny. But then I thought, okay, I heard several people in the movie theater laugh, so it might have just been me. And then we don't have any jokes like that for a while. And then we have another one. And people laugh. So I had a very confusing time thinking if it really was just me or what was going on with these jokes. This is not the movie for it.
Yeah, especially with the clear effort of trying to make this one of the scarier Jurassic Park, Jurassic World films. And there was this kind of weird thing when a joke would happen, it wasn't reciprocated. They just kind of ignored it each time, which I don't know if it's better than having this kind of bro comedy circle that we constantly see in Marvel films, which I guess at least makes sense because these people aren't bros. I'm surprised to hear you say that Scarlett Johansson gave a worthwhile experience. And I'm not saying that Mahershala Ali gave a great performance here, but next to Scarlett, let's get this man an Oscar. And I know it's hard to articulate why a performance is bad without going through each scene, but I can't believe this is some of the takes they went with coming from her.
Yeah, obviously, I don't quite agree with that, but I will say that Mahershala Ali's performance, actor, was definitely wasted. We know his potential. ScarJo, I don't know if I've seen a lot of her films besides Marvel, so I don't know how to quite rate her on that. But in this film, at least the moments where she was talking about passionate things, like her mom, and the connection to the film, I felt that. Or all this hurt she's feeling while still trying to be a likable, let's just get through it so we can survive or so we can get the money kind of character. I felt that, but they were not given enough source material, including Jonathan Bailey. He's really growing on me after Bridgerton and Wicked.
That is a good point. Scarlett Johansson didn't have a lot to work with here. Her and Mahershala Ali are big victims of an exposition dump, and it's hard for everyone to navigate a problem like that. And she's also the victim of internalizing the big movie decision of what we're going to do with this blood, when the obstacle to what we're going to do with that blood, obviously other than the dinosaurs, Krebs, is just a joke. So I will at least agree with she is closer to the bottom of the totem pole of problems. Because of course we've seen Scarlett Johansson do great things, as well as Mahershala Ali.
I'm so curious. How did you feel about that obvious homage moment with the two long-necked dinosaurs hugging, for lack of better words? And we have the Jurassic Park theme playing. It's obviously a very sentimental moment. Did you feel as manipulated as I did?
No, of course not. Especially because the hour before that point, we had been using that soundtrack at different keys and tempos. And I'm just like, why are we using the theme song so much? It loses all effect. We're not stupid. So no, my eyes almost rolled out of my head when that scene with the snake long neck dudes were on screen.
And this is a great debate question on what manipulation is in film, because I definitely felt tricked. And oftentimes manipulation is used as it worked and it got you to feel what it wanted you to feel. But here, I saw what they wanted me to feel without feeling it. And that's when I felt manipulated. Because I didn't feel it. Even though I knew what they were obviously trying to do.
Why is that so effective in Jurassic Park? Because Alan Grant can't believe what he's about to see. He can't believe what he is seeing. He spends this whole time shrugging this whole dream off. And Alan Grant loves dinosaurs more than anyone else. And we experience this with him. Us seeing the dinosaurs for the first time. Zora doesn't care about dinosaurs. Duncan doesn't care about dinosaurs. Outside of chopping them up and selling them on whatever market. And we've spent this whole hour making Dr. Loomis a joke.
I completely agree with you. There's nothing sentimental here for any of these characters, or for me as the audience member. I just saw them get attacked and chased by a lot of other creatures. So it's not for the first time experiencing a dinosaur for these characters and me with them. It just felt so cheap.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for watching Jurassic World Rebirth with me and talking about it here today.
You're welcome.
Do you have a budget guess?
I'm assuming the budget is really high for this film. So I'm going with 216 mil.
Of course, you're right in the pocket because movies have to cost more than space programs. It had a budget of $180 million.
Ooh.
And we'll see if it makes money. And over on Letterboxd with 164,000 people, they weighed in at a 2.8.
Wow. That's lower than I thought it was going to be. You know, it's getting harder for me to rate movies after
Watching so many good ones.
analyzing movies for so long and trying to critically think about them. I'm really struggling here because there's a lot I liked as far as where we could have taken this. A lot of the juice that we had, the potential questions. The dinosaurs, of course, were freaking awesome. Our D-Rex here looked like an alien beluga whale dinosaur. I loved it.
It looked like we were setting up a crossover for D-Rex to fight Godzilla, maybe.
I just don't know what we did with our characters here. Our ensemble felt weird. What are we doing with this random family, and why are we focusing so much on this dad and this daughter's boyfriend? Hopefully, I get some answers later on. I just wanted more. I wanted more charm. I wanted more T-Rex. So I think I'm giving this movie a 2.5. Maybe a 2. I don't know yet.
I'm not sure if it's the worst Jurassic World.
That sounds like a ranking in the making.
But it might be the laziest. It's really surprising to see Gareth Edwards have any involvement in this. I like elevating the mad scientist nature of it. It would have been cool if it was just a scary Jurassic World film. Of course, some of the movement and action sequences are very cool.
Yes.
I hate that just this random family can get away from a T-Rex without any repercussions. If that little girl would have been eaten, that would have been pretty baller.
I thought she was a goner, honestly.
And in a funny way, it probably feels like the most kid-friendly Jurassic World film, too. So I don't know, man. I think this film is probably a solid 1 out of 5.
Ooh.
It was almost a real movie. It almost had good ideas. Its effects were pretty cool. There's some action, there's some movement that's cool. But there's a lot of really, really bad. So yeah, man. Thank you again, and thank you guys for listening to this episode of The Filmistines. I hope you guys enjoyed that short episode. Remember, we post every Wednesday and Friday with brand new episodes and all the free feeds like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Patreon. Remember to leave nice comments, thoughts, and ideas on our Patreon as well. Come subscribe, come write in, come request a film. We appreciate all the support. Thank you guys very much. But until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of The Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon, patreon.com/filmistines. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is The Filmistines, signing off.